Alrighty, guys, good morning to you all. I'm Ryan, Michigan Storm Chasers here. Give me a thumbs up in chat and let me know where you're watching from, if you can hear me okay. And once I have the audio check that is clear, we'll go ahead and get started. Pop out the chat here. We got Diane, got Trisha, Julie, Jenny, Selena, Kelly. What's up, guys? Good morning to you all. Thumbs up. Perfect. All right, cool. I wanted to pop on here and do a bit of a live briefing here. We do have a severe threat today across the populated area of Michigan, and the models do suggest storm coverage today could be more scattered in nature. So we're not talking about, one or two storms across a wide area. We're talking like 4, 5, 6, 7 or more storms that could impact the southeast corner of the state today. So I wanted to pop on here, make sure you guys are caught up to speed, and prepared for what could happen today. Now, it's not a high risk, but it's a risk to talk about nonetheless. So let's go ahead and dive in. Starting with the SPC outlook here, these are the forecasts that come from Norman, Oklahoma, from the Storm Prediction Center. They differ from what we put out. We put our own version. I don't have that pulled up, unfortunately, but I can show you guys the SPC outlook here. It's a marginal risk today. That is level 1 out of a scale of 5. Dark green zones here. It's going to include places like Detroit, Monroe, Adrian, Hillsdale, Coldwater, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Alma, Mount Pleasant, the Tri-Cities, Port Austin, Port Huron, and the Tawas City area. Other areas to the west and north in the light green zone, we're going to call that level 0. That is a general thunderstorm risk. Pretty much encompasses the entirety of the lower peninsula, plus the eastern half of Chippewa and Mackinac counties up here by Sault Ste. Marie in the eastern part of the UP. Hazards today. We have 2 of them to talk about. Typically with the summertime setups, we talk about damaging winds, and I do believe that's the primary setup, the primary risk today as well. The exact same areas here, it is a 5 to 14% chance of seeing a damaging wind gust within a 25-mile point of anywhere on that brownish red color in southeast Michigan. So, for example, if you live in the Flint area, you have a 5 to a 14% chance of seeing a damaging wind gust within a 25-mile radius of you. Large hail is also a concern. Now, it did exclude Monroe, Lenawee, and Hillsdale counties down here, but I will say this map has some certain quirky rules with it that say if you have a probability within a 25-mile point of view, it's within a 25-mile radius of you. So what I mean by that, you zoom in down here, Ann Arbor is on the edge of that risk area for hail, but it does extend 25 miles out around it. So technically, the entirety of the risk area here back in green has a risk today for large hail as well as damaging winds. The risk for anything tornadic is very low today. Per SPC, it is less than 2%. We have very little, if any, spin out there in the atmosphere, so we're not concerned for that to get anything to happen tornadic-wise today. Cell mergers, lake breeze boundaries, a lot of things have to come together for us to have something tornadic, which is not really expected today. We always say it's never a zero threat here in Michigan. We have a lot of weird, quirky setups that can do some weird things here, but the overall environment today and ingredients for severe weather do not support anything to rotate. Going into the models here, let's go ahead and break this down. Time frames, locations, and overall expectations. We're going to run this through. We're going to pause the model here at noon today. Current time is 11:04 a.m. Eastern. Let's go hour by hour according to the high resolution rapid refresh model. We're going to go 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and by about that 2 to 3 p.m. time frame, we have scatter storms popping up all across south central and even parts of northeastern lower Michigan. As we move closer to 4 and 5, this is peak heating. Storms blossom, especially down here in Hillsdale, Jackson, Lenawee, Monroe County area. Some healthy looking cells there on the latest couple runs of this model, so I have to kind of watch that area, in particular around that dinner time frame, 5 o'clock-ish or so. Going into 6 o'clock here, those continue to push eastward. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and by about that 9 to 10 o'clock time frame, we should be winding down with any storms that could be strong or severe. But don't be shocked, we have 1 or 2 lingering storms out there. This is at midnight, and we have a storm up there by the Flynn area still hanging on, but that shouldn't be anything severe to worry about. With these storms today, we have a lot of moisture out there and a lot of what we call D-Cape. I was pulling soundings, atmospheric x-rays, so to speak, of the atmosphere. I'm going to zoom into this down here. The D-Cape, downdraft cape, that is what can be conducive to damaging winds, microbursts. We have 1,000 of that today out there in southeast Michigan. Around, we're going to say 800 to 1,000 or so. Once we get close to that 1,000 range, we start keeping a close eye on things because that's pretty healthy in terms of damaging wind threat with microbursts. That's the main concern today, and that would be the case with any storm out there producing potentially some really heavy rainfall rates. And then with that comes the chance for microbursts, which a lot of the rain comes out of the storm, it hits the ground, it spreads outward. The outward force can cause gusty winds. All right, that is your hazards today. Now, in terms of other models, we have the RRFS model we use quite often here as well. This model does show more scattered coverage further north as well. I think the environment across the entirety of the risk area has potential for strong to severe storms. This model just kind of has them further north today. And this is the same time frame between about 2 o'clock and about 10 o'clock this afternoon. So that is your forecast briefing today. Tomorrow, we do have a little bit of a break here. There's today's outlook. Tomorrow, we have basically no threat in the state for severe weather or even general thunderstorms. We are clear, but come Friday, return of storms and potential severe weather for the western UP especially, but do take note the light green areas here do have a risk for some thunderstorms that shouldn't be strong, but never can rule those out with these summertime setups. All right, that is your briefing today. We got through that in what's the time frame here? 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the live radar out there across the state. We've had and do have a couple showers and storms out there across the southeast Michigan, Monroe, Lenawee, Washtenaw, Wayne County area. These are not currently severe or strong in nature. In fact, we can take a peek at the wind velocity here. These are just general garden variety showers and storms out there. The highest wind gust I'm getting is like 15 miles an hour. So these are not even close to being strong. But do take note, with a lot of moisture out there today, we do have potential for these storms to dump a lot of rain very quickly. Flooding could be a concern in any storms that train over the exact same areas. So keep that in mind. Never drive through flooded waters. And the old saying, turn around, don't drown, applies here. We've seen quite a bit of rain overnight for the 96 and 94 corridors. So any additional rain showers and storms will aggravate any ponding or flooding concerns in those areas. All right. Any questions, guys? Let's go ahead and pop out the chat here. Hopefully that covers pretty much everything. It's not a high concern today, but I did want to pop on here and give you guys a rundown of what to expect as there is a threat today. And storms today are expected to be more so widespread, so it's not going to be like 1 or 2 areas getting hit. It's a pretty wide threat today with a lot of storms popping up on radar here. So I want you guys to be not concerned, but I want you guys to be aware of the potential for damaging winds and perhaps some large hail today. Yeah, if you guys, moderators here in chat, anything political gets deleted. We don't do that here. Weather is weather, and it's not political at all. So don't make it political. All right, any questions, guys? Pop out the chat and let's talk about that. I don't see anything offhand. My cat has been hanging close to me today. I was going to give her an appearance, but she hopped off as I was doing the rundown there. Pippi. Looking dark in Wayne County. Yep, they got some storms rolling into you. In fact, the Dearborn camera may have a shot of that in about 20 minutes or so, but it's just rain. It's not really anything to be concerned about or anything cool looking. Jackson County clear for the day? No, not at all. We have numerous storms potentially all afternoon for you guys across the risk area. if you're on anywhere in dark green or light green on this map, you have a threat today between now and about 10 o'clock tonight for some rain and or some storms, some of which could be strong or severe in the dark green zone areas. Pippi, come on. She's back here, guys, I promise you. I guess you can't see her, but she's back there. Time frame, right around 2 p.m. to about 10 p.m. Oh, there she is. You can see her. 2 to 10 p.m., peak heating when the instability is highest. Hey, Pip. Yeah, she's hanging close to me today. Grand Rapids looking clear. On models, yeah, most of the storms do stay on the east side of the state, but there are a couple models here that do pop some storms up close to Grand Rapids in the west side of the state, so we can't rule that out completely. But most of the storms will be on the east side of the state today. How's the weekend looking? Warmer and also muggier. I think both days, in fact, let me try this real quick. I might be able to show you guys the CSU learning model. I think Saturday and Sunday are days to watch for severe weather. I've been kind of keeping a close eye on that. But right now, nothing too concerning besides the fact it's kind of like a similar setup to today, where we have a lot of moisture and a little bit more of in the way of hotter temperatures coming in for the weekend. So perhaps some pop-up storms like this that could be strong or severe. I don't think anything organized is going to happen in terms of like bow echoes or derechos or outbreaks. But typical summertime thunderstorms here in Michigan are possible. Aaron, I do not have any knowledge of that. I wouldn't think that I'd have any correlation, though. We want to see Pippi. Am I behind here? Or... Oh, I'm behind. So if you live anywhere in the dark green colored areas here in south, central, and eastern Michigan, that is your threat today for a strong and severe storm. If you're on the west side of the state or further north, that is a general thunderstorm risk in light green. That means that no severe is expected in those areas. We can still get severe sometimes in those areas, but the risk and the ingredients come together much better on the dark green side of the state. Yeah, if we have people in chat, moderators, if you have people in chat that are continuing political discussion, just boot them out. We're not doing that here. You've got, I've seen like 4 or 5 warnings, so just boot them out at this point. No problem, Julia. So live radar here. I see a question for live radar. Looking at the Detroit area, got a pretty good downpour heading along US 12 here into the downriver area, Taylor, Dearborn, Livonia, Detroit eventually. This is moving to the east and a bit north there at about 30 miles an hour. So we could definitely have some quick half-inch of rain being dumped up there in Wayne County currently. I think my neck of the woods down here, we've gotten, so far this morning, it's rained pretty hard lately. So let me pop out my weather station here and see what I got so far today. I have an inch. Actually, I have an inch and 1.04 to be exact, just from this morning. So I already got an inch of rain down here. So that's crazy. Red Dozer with a super chat says, East Siders, please get out there and push those storms back to the west side. If you do, I'll give you some green beans and zucchini. Thank you, Red, for that super chat. West side needs some rain. Yes, that is true. We have an ongoing drought across your area, Red, so I think it's actually abnormally dry conditions, but it's getting close to a drought, so Tri-Cities are still the worst in the state. If we can get rain up there by Saginaw, Bay City, or Midland, that'd be ideal. That's where we really need the rain in the state, but it's starting to grow further back to the west, so we'll take all the rain we can get. What's up, Caden? Aaron says I'll throw some sweet corn in there too. Yeah, we haven't really had any widespread, major systems that come through and just give us a widespread soaking rain of like a half inch. We need that type of situation. But we are in summertime, and summertime isn't really conducive to that unless we get like a big line of storms that comes across the lake and impacts a large portion of the state. Sometimes that can happen, but on these summertime pop up type of days, excuse me, this is more just kind of scattered in nature. So we're certain areas will get a lot of rain, and other areas will get like nothing at all. So. It's pouring in Belleville. Thank you, Jackie. It's possible in Grand Rapids today. In fact, we take the radar up there. There's actually a pop-up storm that's going up in Kent County currently. They just started to form. Now, the funny thing is with this is it's formed pretty well in the upper levels. Like this is like probably 15,000 feet up there. But when we switch the radar, there we go. Now it's starting to form down to low levels. So there's actually a storm going up right now in Kent County, just north of Grand Rapids there. So yeah, we do have potential for storms across the entire lower peninsula today, but definitely highest concern and highest coverage expected over here on the east side of the state. What is today? Is today Wednesday? Yeah. So tomorrow we'll have an update on the drought monitor. It updates Thursday mornings. So last we talked was, I believe, the Tri-Cities was in a severe drought, and then we had abnormally dry conditions back to the west and along Lake Michigan, I believe. I think is where the last update was for the drought, but it'll be updated tomorrow. We'll take a peek at how that's expanded or if it's gotten better in some areas. Yep. It'll be me today on coverage. I may have Caleb join me today. Joel and Drew. Oh, Drew's on vacation. And Joel is actually at a speaking event today. So it'll be me and potentially Caleb if we need to later today for coverage of severe. Motion on the storms, Ashton, be east at about 20 to 30 miles per hour. There's not a lot of wind shear out there today that's going to push these storms along, so a slow movement, but pretty much east. Will the sun come out to destabilize? Yes. If we go ahead and look at the forecast model here, we can kind of go through the ingredients. We have a lot of surface cape out there already, starting to build up there across the state. We have like 1 to 2,000 joules already. Peak heating, though, we can kind of see how it starts over here on the east side of the state. It gets a little bit higher in some areas, little pockets of 2,000 plus cape. So that's going to be your storm fuel. So we have plenty of fuel out there. But here's your spin, though. Check out your spin today. We want about 150 or ideally over 200, 250 plus to be concerned about tornadoes. And we're seeing like 17, 37, 31. Like there's just not much spin out there. So that's why we're not concerned today for anything tornadic. But going back to that sounding here, the downdraft cape is what's really going to drive the wind threat today. And we're seeing pockets of 1,000 out there. Those storms want to take advantage of that D cape. They're going to produce gusty winds. So I would not expect a watch today. If we do get an MD, it'll be probably like 5%, maybe 20%. Yeah, if we had more shear today to organize updrafts better, we could be looking at a slight risk, but I don't think it's going to happen. The coverage is there today. I would expect there, if you had more shear, to have a slight risk out there. But because we don't really have that abundance of shear, these storms are going to be pretty unorganized, and they're going to take advantage of the moisture instead of the wind shear. We can kind of differentiate. There's moisture-driven storms that produce gusty winds, and there's shear-driven storms that produce gusty winds. The shear-driven ones are the ones you got to be concerned about for like a widespread basis, whereas the moisture-driven ones are more, scattered and pop up in nature. So today's moisture-driven, it's not shear-driven. Any storms today may have potential. Keyword is may. Going back to the radar here, I always want to communicate this to you guys, where on these summer-like days where we have, go back to the risk here first and say, hey, we have the entire state today in a risk, or the entire lower peninsula in a risk here for thunderstorms, with the dark green area for severe storms, right? So that tells somebody up in, we're going to say, for example, Traverse City, hey, we have a chance for a storm today. But on the models here, we only look at storms here, then while there's a potential for it, yes, across the entire state, a lot of moisture, there's some lift out there, we could see a pop-up storm anywhere in the state. Only certain areas are impacted. So we call scattered in nature. So coverage is important of these risk areas as well. So we can have all the ingredients in place, but it can still have areas that don't get impacted at all. So just because you're in a risk doesn't always mean you're going to be impacted. It just means a risk. That's what it is. And a forecast is just that, an educated guess. But yeah, today is not going to be a widespread derecho day. It's a pretty low-end severe day. Just enough moisture out there to be concerned about some gusty wind potential. Any other questions here, guys? Been live for about 25 minutes. I got to pop off and do some work, grab some lunch here, and get ready for coverage later this afternoon if need be. So any final questions, go ahead and drop them in chat. If you guys have any while you do that, I'm going to shout out today's sponsors. We have our spotlight sponsor of the day. It's going to be Schneider Commercial Building Solutions. For commercial building or roofing solutions across Michigan, give Schneider a call at 888-722-7027. Thank you to Schneider for being today's trusted partner of the day and being today's spotlight sponsor here on Michigan Storm Chasers. Other sponsors that help support us and offer services to you guys as well, in case you need their services from tree cleanup, restoration, or roofing and siding exterior needs. We have Storm Guard, based in the Detroit metro area, also one of our Skycam sponsors. We have Katz Roofing and Siding, based in the Lansing area. We have Lifestyle Exteriors, based in the Potterville area. We have Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding, based in the Thumb. We have McKay Tree Specialists, based in Southeast Michigan. We have Kuiper Tree Care, based in West Michigan. FBI Buildings, they offer barndominium needs across much of the Lower Peninsula. On Top Roofing, based in Livingston County. We have our Spotlight Schneider. We also have Shield Public Adjusters for any claim or adjusting needs on your insurance across Michigan. Top Gun Roofing Exteriors, based in West Michigan. A-Class Construction Restoration, based in Mason County up there in the western part of Lower Michigan. Rainbow Restoration, based in Kent County for any restoration needs for storm cleanup. Our newest sponsor, Rapid Radios here. We're going to see a lot more of them on their page in the future. They're going to be our communications in the field. We're going to have probably me and Joel talking to these guys a lot on our radios. So stay tuned for that. We're excited to use Rapid Radios here. And then last but not least, our Skycam sponsors, Guardian Technologies. They also offer audio, video, and security needs. They're based out of the Burton area. Any one of these sponsors can offer services to you guys if you need them. They are trusted partners all through the vetted process that we've put them through. They all have their required certifications, insurance if need be, and they're willing to stand by and help you guys in the event you need their services. So if you do need their services, reach out to us. We'll connect you with the right person, or if you know who to talk to in your area, feel free to reach out directly to them and tell them the MSC sent you. All right, last couple questions here. Damaging wind is your primary concern today. Can't rule out a large hailstone. No tornadoes are expected, but it is Michigan. And it seems like the past 2 days or past 2 times we've been severe, the storms have tried to rotate a little bit. So we never can rule it out completely. But going back to what I showed you guys about 5 minutes ago, your spin out there today. This is your spin at 5 o'clock tonight. We want to see these numbers close to 150, ideally over 200. And you can see there's just not much spin out there. So if anything is going to rotate today, cell mergers, when two storms merge together, that can spark some rotation. Lake breeze boundaries, if a storm can attach itself to a boundary, that could also spark some rotation. But again, the environment today is not conducive to rotating storms. It's kind of a lot of stuff that has to happen for that to happen. So damaging winds, primary concern, large hail, secondary concern. No concern at this point for anything tornadic, but of course it's never a zero risk here in Michigan, as we've learned in the past. So always on our toes. With that said, hold on. Power is out in Ypsilanti. Not sure why. Yeah, the storm was not intense at all moving through there. The wind was not that intense. So, all right, 2 to 10 p.m. is your time frame today, and we will be live in the event of severe weather. I'll be leading the coverage today, perhaps with Caleb making an appearance. Caleb is our guy who runs our Indiana pages. But with Drew and Joel both out of commission, either on vacation with Drew's case and then Joel speaking at an event today, you're going to be stuck with me and or Caleb later on. So we'll catch you guys later if we do go live for severe. And of course, you can tune in here on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch for coverage later on today. You guys enjoy your day, stay safe, and we'll catch you guys if need be later.